Hello, everyone. My name is Jarett Burke. I'm the CEO of Kifcure, and I'm honored to welcome you all to the opening night of our 2024 Hemp Informational Series hosted by Kifcure. Big thanks to our attendees, both on premise and online. Our panelists, we'll introduce here in a bit, and our online visitors. Your presence here signifies your interest in expanding the feasibility of industrial hemp grown for fiber, and your participation means the world to us. So before diving into the discussion, I'm going to do my best to quickly introduce and summarize some of the collaborative partnerships who are here with me today. Two Sisters Farms and Tulip Tree Gardens. So a little bit about Kifcure in this relationship. Kifcure serves as the collaboration to help coordinate all of the efforts here. We oversee the supply chain management, primarily genetic sourcing, some distribution marketing, and some of the logistics behind getting the hemp fiber into folks' hands. Two Sisters Farms here, Mike Baines, complements this collaboration with their expertise in custom-tailored hemp farming services, offering a range of services crucial for hemp cultivation, ensuring the highest crop quality and yields. Their advanced equipment, which some of is outside, many of you may have seen that as you drove in here today, and their knowledge and valuable assets to growers will be a key component as we move on here in the years to come. Tulip Tree Gardens, through many years with Jesse Smedberg here as well, from Tulip Tree Gardens, and through many years of successful hemp farming practices and other successfully grown crops on their farm down in Beecher, Illinois, Tulip Tree secures the land and grows the community by helping foster these partnerships. Thanks to their dedication to our industry, specifically here in Illinois, fostering growth and prosperity in our hemp farming endeavors. Now I want to take a little bit of a look at what we'll be discussing tonight. So there's a lot of questions as it relates to this plant, as it relates to some of the other hemp varieties that many people may have known. What I really want to focus on today is the hemp farming practices. So we've got two of the biggest hemp growers in Illinois here today with us, and to share in their expertise. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the end products that this hemp fiber plant is being used for, such as construction materials, paper and textiles, and bioplastics. We're excited to share the news about the new Kifcure Industrial Park tonight, which is under construction. It's just north of here in Lees Road. This indicates a significant step forward in our mission to provide farmers with the necessary resources and to allow for sustainable hemp production in the supply chain here in the Midwest. Kind of some of the agenda items of what we'll be going over would be hemp fiber, what it is, and why farmers should grow it this year. And then some of the practices that go behind that, such as cutting, tedding, and raking, baling, and storing of the hemp bales. We'll do a Q&A session, so we want this to be as interactive as possible. And our intention is to really showcase the infrastructure available to local farmers due to this collaborative partnership between Kifcure, Two Sisters, and Tulip Tree, and have a successful 2024 and beyond. So without further ado, I'd like to give Mike and Jesse a quick, I just gave a pretty quick background, but maybe if you wouldn't do a mind a little introduction and on your farm and kind of what you did this year and what we might be looking at next year.
Yeah, I'm Jesse Smedberg with Tulip Tree Gardens. We are a vertically integrated wellness farm. We operate in both agriculture and retail spaces. And on the agriculture side, we grow industrial hemp both for CBD as well as for fiber. We've been in the market for 5 years since we were allowed to be in the market. So I've known Jarett for some time now, and thanks for the interruption, by the way. On the retail side, we operate micro grocers. So we have a store in Evanston. We also have our store in Beecher, Illinois, where we sell produce, and we work with local farms on collaborating and aggregating produce from about 85 different farmers all together. And we sell that out of our stores in Evanston and Beecher. So other than that,
my name is Mike Baines. We have two sisters farms. We're first generation farmers. So as we were seeking to find a pathway for us to be involved in agriculture, we found industrial hemp and have solely focused on the fiber side. So we spent our time trying to investigate where our niche was, where it fit. And so we do that through two ways: farming for ourselves, producing fiber, which we've done successfully this year, and then custom farming for those that are seeking help, that either small or large plots. So we've traveled around the Midwest, from Minnesota to Wisconsin through Illinois, doing some farming for others. And that gained us a ton of experience and wisdom to bring back to ourselves, but also to help others. So we're looking to certainly expand our own hemp fiber production, and then also partner with Kifcure and Jesse and others on how we can add to our custom farming operation.
Great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. So yeah, let's dig right into it. Myself and Kifcure and Tulip Tree, we have experience in years past of growing the CBD variety of hemp, which is a completely different animal than what we're talking about today. I often refer to the CBD farming aspect of it as like farming hand-picked vegetables, right? So it requires a lot of attention, a lot of as Jesse can attest to, and he's going to share some of his experiences. But you have to look at that crop every day and make sure there's no worms or powdery mildew or other things that might affect that crop, because it is really more of being used as a medicine as opposed to insulation or concrete or bioplastics. So I think making that distinction it's one of the for those who haven't farmed hemp in the past, it's one of the biggest questions I get. Well, a lot of them really kind of equate hemp when they hear that to overall just marijuana in general. So getting over that hurdle first is the first step, like letting them know, no, you cannot smoke this and it will not get you high. Yeah, well, many people will wish that it doesn't work. But really, from a farming perspective, I mean, Jesse, you've farmed successfully CBD for the last 5 years, correct? Participated in many programs through universities and so forth. If you wouldn't mind giving the audience a little perspective on what those different challenges were from this year growing. I know you did both, but in past years, kind of what those differences would be.
Yeah, well, on the CBD side of things, it's definitely there's a lot of things that can go wrong, right? So if you start doing like a risk analysis, it gets huge really quick because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. That being said, I think Jarett kind of hit it on the head when he said, it's equated to hand-picked vegetables. If you're used to running a market garden the size of, 2, 3, 4 acres, which is a considerably huge market garden, then yeah, absolutely. I feel that it's worth looking into. Challenges are gonna be right there on par with your vegetables. So during armyworm season, you're going to be fighting armyworms. You're going to be fighting red cornworms now, or definitely throughout virtually all hemp, and certainly in our area, most likely the entire Midwest. And so I think really just in the last couple of years, we've seen a much higher presence of armyworms, leading to bud rot and damage to flowers. So it's definitely been a challenge. It's definitely a niche market, but it's also one of the most rewarding things to grow. And it's a love-hate relationship with CBD if you're going to grow for CBD. Sure. So.
Yeah. And growing hemp fiber this year.
So fiber has been an absolute joy. I never realized I could be so hands-off with something. And it's been great. We planted about 28 acres, almost 30 acres of Futura 83, which is the fiber that Kifcure, the variety that Kifcure provided us, and it did really well. We also were subject to a tremendous drought. So like everybody, we were subject to no rain for the better part of 45 days, I think, from end of May or middle of May through June. That was definitely a challenge, definitely had us really scared, though we ended up, harvesting a really great crop. And throughout all of those, days without rain and all of those weeks without rain, my neighbor's corn wasn't growing and his beans weren't growing, but son of a gun, that hemp was growing. And it was really something to see. Not to say that it doesn't affect it, but the concern of damage, of full-on field damage that we were concerned about was gone. It, as unfortunate as the drought was, it was kind of nice to get that data and really put the plant through a stress test of lack of water. So I feel like water's definitely important, not as important as people may think. I don't think you're looking at a pivot irrigation system type situation unless you're in sandy soils and things like that. The struggles with it, I'd say, really haven't been many. We ended up working with Mike and Two Sisters Farms on harvesting, and it worked out really well. We went with, professional equipment that was designed for cutting hemp, which I would absolutely recommend. I know that there's a lot of farmers out there that use a standard sickle shear, but it was a night and day difference in terms of the whole experience, I think, with that. So the yield was, it turned out quite well. I think we're at about 4 tons per yield per acre on what we pulled out. There's definitely some room for improvement in that. We can kind of chat about seed spacing and seed singulation and things on improvement, but no, it was a wonderful experience, actually. I loved it. And the cover crop that resulted from harvest, so our volunteers came up and we have a full thick cover crop in the field of hemp right now that is covering really well, and it's just really nice not to have any weed pressure, no ragweeds coming through. The whole field is covered within 3-4 days of cutting it down. So it was nice.
What about you, Mike? So first year farming hemp, stuck with the fiber variety exclusively. From a equipment standpoint, I would say there's no one here in the Midwest that has the portfolio of equipment that you acquired here over the last year. Talk a little bit about what your experiences were.
Yeah, I think from being so new to it that, I looked at it from where maybe everybody else in the past or to date has said, let's get some stuff in the ground and then we'll worry about how we get it out of the ground. And I looked at it from, and through, some people in this room, there's a lot of conversations that challenges were brought up. So we went on the mission to figure out what was the ideal setup of equipment from planting, tillage, planting to harvest and bale. And frankly, stuck our neck out far more than maybe some would be willing, but it turned out to be a rather good payoff for us, because as crops started to grow, we started getting phone calls from those around the Midwest that while our crop was certainly delayed, like Jesse stated, for 45 days plus, we started getting calls from people that had some serious problems and had taken other equipment, had a plan for different equipment, got into it, were immediately unsuccessful. And, I would say it was somewhat of a fireman call in a lot of cases from early August through September here. So that was invaluable experience, because we saw everything from sandy pivot, sandy soils in Wisconsin and, and Minnesota on what are potato fields, so very sandy soils. You know, our typical soils here in our market, Northern Illinois. And I think I didn't expect the fact that, of course, none of us expected we wouldn't see rain for 45 to 60 days. So we put product in the ground, or put seed in the ground the last week of May, 24 acres here that's real close, sat with virtually no establishment, seed in the ground. We didn't really know whether we would have a crop on that field. And we got 8 inches of rain on that particular field between 4th of July and that week there. And it just popped. And, I think we'll get real close to pulling 4 ton off of that field as well. So I won't say that we made every choice perfect on the machinery side. I'll just kind of run through what we did in prepping our fields. We're trying to push more towards an organic stance on it and reduce our inputs. So we did not apply any herbicides. We started with disking fields, cultivating with roller baskets to get a smooth finish. We have a brilliant seeder that we used. We wanted to go after density. So we did plant spacings at 2.5 inches. Unfortunately, what we can't get is seed singulation, which is the path that we're on to try to figure out now. And then, so we had, we choked out a lot of weeds, I think, just based on our density there. Whereas most, I believe, have put their product and their seed in the ground with a 7-inch spacing on a standard drill. We have the most unique piece, which is our hemp cutter. It's a 4-blade system, so it's a sickle bar cutter that all blades are engaged. It cuts in 2-foot increments. So we leave about 8 inches of stubble on the ground on a pretty level field, and that's and then we'll cut in 2-foot increments based upon Jesse's product. Is probably the tallest and the best product that we've seen, and some of that was well over the cab of the tractor. So probably 12, 13 foot heights on a lot of cases. Cutter worked beautifully. Interesting enough that it's one in which the cutter actually works better the faster you go. And for any of those that came out to the field, you saw some of that. From there, we TED it, and we're just trying to turn everything over and flip the fiber over to let it wet. Additionally, rake it and bale it. We round bale with a McHale baler. It's got a hemp cut hemp kit on it. And I think that we've seen just some really uniform bales. We've got a bale out here that came off of Jesse's farm. So, for a company or individuals that had first year, we've had a really good experience overall. We're in a spot now where we're trying to scale this at a pretty large level.
So